Hello, everybody, and welcome in. This is, of course, the world famous Tim Talks podcast. I know no one's heard of this show before, but we are into our new episode. It's episode 6, I believe, of Tim Talks podcast. And what are we going to talk about this week? It is another Friday, another beautiful Friday. And yeah, we just need to decide what's going on here. Anyways, I was thinking there the other day. Actually, you've probably seen it already, but if you go onto Spotify, you can find Tim Talks Music. What this is basically I have a little section dedicated to music on Spotify, and it's just my top picks of my favorite songs. I'm going to do it every month. So for April, you have let me just throw it up here. My songs that I've chosen, whatever I've been listening to recently. Nice little mix of genres there. Personally, I have a lot of different types of music I'm into. So I decided, today's episode, I'm going to go through each song, why I chose it, maybe a bit about the artist, etc., the history of me listening to that song or whatever. And yeah, it'll be a bit of crack. So I'll repeat that once again. Tim Talks Music on Spotify. So I guess let's go through the songs. I have 10 songs on this, and each song is pretty much a banger. So first one up, we have Love in the Time of Lexapro. I did mention the artist before who sung this song, which is One Throx Point Never, and I spelled it wrong. It was Oneothithorix. And basically what this is a one guy, I believe, and sort of electronic ambient music. This song is just it's no lyrics. It's kind of calm to start, and it sort of builds up momentum, and it's just a really nice, really introspective song is the word I would use for it. And yeah, I just love listening to it, especially on a sunrise, a nice early morning day. You're on your own and you just want to embrace that sort of song. So it's a great song, to be honest, and worth to listen. Also one of my favorite artists. Used to be into a phase where I would listen to a lot of like similar type of music, just sort of that sort of non-lyrical, more, don't know what the word is, sort of out there, sort of alternative ambient electronic music. Anyways, one of the top guys for it, very underrated. I think it was only about 1 million or 2 million views on it. I would give you guys a preview, but I don't want to get striked, taken down. So you can definitely just check out that playlist after this, or during this podcast. So the next song we have up here is The Day We Caught the Train. This is by Ocean Colours Scene. You may know them. They're fairly recognizable for one of their other songs, I believe, and that song is the Riverboat song. I've heard that song quite a bit, and they're a pop sort of, they have this sort of old feel to them. I think they're from England. They have sort of mid-90s type band from that sort of Britpop era, but they're sort of different from everyone else. It's a good song because it's sort of unexpected in the way it moves and turns and has a little minor key in it there. So it's a sort of not your traditional song, even though it kind of has that sort of feel to it. It's sort of a bit more out there. You can see the sort of the pattern in my choices, because this song is very much a nice, got the love theme in it, but it's got an interesting way of telling that story, shall we say. And it's just a really interesting song. It's hard to explain music, do you know what I mean? But like, that's a really nice song. And would I say upbeat? Yeah, it's a pretty upbeat song, but again, it's like not tonally upbeat. It's more upbeat in terms of it's I don't know how to explain it. Just like the tempo of upbeat. That's your song, it's got a downbeat in terms of meaning and whatever. I'm not doing a good justice here of explaining that song. Anyways, let's move on to number 3. Number 3, we have I Could Be the One, Avicii versus Nicky Romero. This is a really famous song, really good pop song. One of my favorite, probably my favorite Avicii song out there. Obviously, rest in peace, Avicii. Avicii was a Swedish, you all know Avicii was famous for a lot of good songs. Kind of the sound of 2016, really. Really pop songs, and it was everywhere. It was hard to escape that music. Anyways, this song is my favorite, just based on the beat drop and the overall, build up. I think everything about it is just perfect, really, from start to finish. The sounds, the music, the tempo, it's all brilliant, and it's just a really happy, upbeat song with a lot of goosebumps after listening to that song. I also remember the music video being very weird for the song, so it's a really good song. Avicii can be sometimes a bit overdone, but I really enjoy that music. Next up, we have An Opening by Amni Ned, I want to say. And the reason I have the song on here is I've kind of raved about it before, but there's a guy called GeoWizard, who plays GeoGuessr, also does some straight line missions on YouTube. And this is one of his intro songs, and it's called An Opening. It's a real calm, sort of what's the word? It's not methodical, but sort of calming, peaceful song. I can definitely picture myself listening to this going for a walk. Once again, quite nice walk. I love walks. And it's got a real nice, slow pace to it, and sort of traditional, more vintage feel about it, but also sort of a video gamey, sort of retro-y feel about it. But yeah, it's real simple, real nice, and just beautiful song. Next up, I went through a phase of listening to them, The Strokes, and the song is Call It Fate, Call It Karma by The Strokes. Strokes are a band that have gone through some peaks and troughs. Obviously, in their olden days, they were very good, and then recently, their new album has been incredible. This is one of their great songs from the middle of their discography, which I actually really enjoy. What can be said? The vocalist is just insane, and it's paired with the most beautiful guitars in the world. This song is just a really out there in terms of its sort of calming, but also the vocal range is just incredible for this song. And yeah, it's just a really cool song. I say cool is the word. It has something about it, a little bit of something different about it. You hear it and you sort of, move your head or whatever. And it's also really peaceful and a nice little, I guess a lot of these songs are either peaceful or really out there in terms of tempo. But this is one of them where it's just like, oh yes, real calm. Want to give it to a listen, Just a real nice song. It's hard for me to describe any songs, by the way. Next one was Jake Bugg, All I Need. This song, I believe, was for the Now TV commercial. He also did another song a couple of years ago, which was quite popular. Young Enough Lad, Lightning Bolt, really popular song. That was... I thought it was an old lad singing it for some reason, but it's actually a young-ish lad. He looks like Justin Bieber, British. He's from Nottingham, and he's just an interesting singer, more of a folky type singer, but kind of puts his own burst spin on it. And anyways, All I Need is a sort of a pop version with a really nice chorus with an actual choir singers, nearly gospel singers, and I think it's a really, really great hook. And I think one of the best hooks I've heard all year is in that song. Next up, we have Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elvin Bishop. I have no idea who Elvin Bishop is, but this song, I probably put him on the map as a one-hit wonder. This song was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I believe. Really good movie, by the way. And it's a really nice love song. Absolutely perfect from start to finish. It's sort of a swooning type melody. And it's... yeah, as far as love songs go, this one's definitely up there. It's sort of a slightly resentful, but upbeat, uplifting, sort of optimistic song. So I really like that one. Next up is Polaris Ivy Boys song. Polaris were a band that were popular during not popular during the 90s, but they did a lot of music for a Nickelodeon TV show called The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is a really good show. Back when Nickelodeon were pumping out the classics, basically. And this song kind of represents that whole TV show. It was it wasn't the theme song, but it was another song which I believe is really good. And it was just such an interesting and good song, and it's that 90s sort of nostalgia written all over it. Some good hearty, weird lyrics, I will say, but good hearty sort of delivery by the vocals, and just some classic guitar work, which is really nice. Certainly underrated. So the penultimate song is Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I'm not a big Nick Cave fan, to be honest. He's quite odd, but this song, chorus, majority of which featured in the TV show Peaky Blinders as the intro. So it's a really well-known song just because of that. Obviously, I didn't even realise this was an old song, but it is. And the rest of the song is actually brilliant. Brilliant song. Has a very much an attitude about it, to be honest. And so it fits perfectly into that Peaky Blinders world where, people have attitudes. So it's a great song. and quite a long one, I would say, but definitely worth the listen because it just hits you right in the face. It does. Finally on the list we have Daft Punk, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. You all know the song from the, probably more likely from the Kanye West song Stronger, but of course it's its own right. It's a great song. A bit short, but it's just got this lovely beat, lovely loud hi-hat cymbals and the drums, and it's sort of somehow it actually changes tempo halfway through, and it's the most seamless transition I've seen in a while. Great song, by the way. So that's my list. All great artists, all great songs. Every month I'm going to be changing up that list. I'm going to be hitting you with new songs there. So be prepared. Not necessarily my favorite artists, not necessarily my favorite songs ever, but it's the songs I've been listening to that month that I probably, you probably haven't heard of mostly. I'm trying to hit that sort of unknown territory a little bit, just to give you guys a little something interesting to listen to. But on that note, I was thinking, I could talk more about artists I like, and maybe do a top 10 of like my favorite artists ever. So I don't really want to go in a particular order, but I'll just go based off, these are the artists I like the most. So I guess, I'll just have a flick through and just, be like, oh, yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. And I suppose I've already touched on one, which is, to be honest, lads, I haven't planned this at all. So I'm currently just having a look through, seeing who I would say my top artist would be. And I'm going to pull one out of the bag here. Number one is Mac Miller. He's an artist who recently passed away. He has had some great hits, some great songs, usually going under the radar, and he's a rapper. And I'll hit you with my favorite song from him, and it is, Jesus, this is slightly awkward here. My favorite, well, there's just so many good songs by this guy, so it's kind of hard to narrow it down. But I do like Come Back to Earth. I think that's just got a really nice song. It was kind of where I introduced this guy. It's one of his last albums, so it's kind of sad, but it's such a beautiful song. He's also a guy who put a lot of work into his album covers, which are some of the nicest covers ever, including that one, which is him sitting in like a coffin, nearly standing up with an airport window in the back, and it's symbolic. His music is usually quite thoughtful, provoking, a lot of effort put into it, and it's not your typical rap. It's more of a sort of poppy stance to it, but it's so soft, it's so beautiful, and kind of my type of music, to be honest. So Mac Miller, big up to him. It really is. My next one was one I guess an artist I've been sort of indulging with a lot last year, but not so much this year, and that is David Bowie. David Bowie was he's now passed away, one of the greatest sort of artists that has ever lived in terms of strictly in terms of influence and over other artists, because he did his own thing. He didn't really care about the status quo as much, and he just rocked the whole world. Like, he was great. He started off sort of doing his own thing, gained success quite quickly, then went through spells of sort of moderate success, and then of course he went proper mainstream, and then after that he went under the radar again, and then he made more hits and then he just made more great songs. So he can do it all. God, I'd pick a favorite song by David Bowie would be insanely hard. Obviously a lot of his famous songs are good, but they're quite overplayed, quite over, I've heard them a lot, so it would be hard to say, ooh, this song is just great. But one song that got me into him in the first place was Lazarus, which is from his penultimate album. I just found that a chilling, bone-chilling song. And he's one of these artists that creates such great atmosphere with his music. A great, ambience, a great aesthetic look, aesthetic sound to his music. And this was one of those songs that was just like, put me straight into that setting, into his, shoes, shall we say. And it was just an amazing song. Such an extravagant artist, but can also pull at your heartstrings bring it back to basics and just absolutely kill you in the fields. So anyway, that's number 2 on my list of greatest artists ever. Obviously, it's not a complete list by any stretch of the imagination. One of the artists I already mentioned, which is one Thrix Point Never, so I won't mention him again. All I know is that he is an absolutely exceptional artist from America and producing great music again and again. He's also done work with the likes of The Weeknd and Nine Inch Nails. So he's clearly a very talented artist, probably more so for other people than for himself. He also did music for a great movie called Good Time. Go check that out. I will mention that every day for the rest of my life. So he's absolutely exceptional and very underrated. So please check him out. He also creates great scenes in your head, more so soundscapes than anything. And look, he's great. Number 4, we have Radiohead. Quite a depressing artist, I will be perfectly honest, band. So I would say they wouldn't be the one I'd listen to every fucking day, but they do produce some great hits. And God, my favourite song here is probably Creep, which actually happens to be their most popular song. Because it just hits hard. It starts off with its basic beginning and just builds up to this amazing just impact. And that's always what I want to see. When you get hit in the head by a certain artist, you feel the goosebumps, you feel the impact of it. It impacts you. It really does. And I think that's why Radiohead are so successful, because not only they create their own like independent alternate music, but it has this mainstream appeal because it really hits home. It doesn't dance around the subject matter or whatever. It just goes straight for it, and it's honest and truthful, and it's sad, but like sometimes you want that. So that's number. God, I lost count already. We had David Bowie, one of Thrix Point Never, Mac Miller, number 4. So this is going to be number 5 now, if I can find it. Do you know what? Probably one of these artists that I think always gets cited as one of the best artists ever. So I sort of have to mention them, and that's Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin are an amazing artist, a band, even sort of from that sort of 60s, 70s period where England was just churning out the great artists like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Pink Floyd. But I think Led Zeppelin top it for me, just based on their guitar work, their attitude, just the whole sort of vibe they give off. It sums up a generation, and it's just great music. Absolutely essential listening, especially the guitar work. They have such great songs out there, and the one I'm going to choose as their best song is Ramble On. Ramble On is an exceptional song, such a great song. Listened to it a while back, and it got me good. So that's a great artist, and you know what, they stuck to their guns really, and it paid off for them. They didn't have to pander for anyone really. So great music. Number 5, there you go. Now on to number 6, people, and number 6 is going to be a tough one because I've touched a lot of categories, shall I say. I've touched a lot of where can I go from here. Like this, there's obviously very much a struggle now because I've gone to so many areas, so many places, and it's like, what? Where do you go from here? But the next one up is the Beatles. They're classic. They are a classic artist because we all know them for their hits. We all know them for a lot of songs, and they just never seem to let down with the bangers, the hits, and just the overall. There's no real weaknesses to this band. They can do it all. They can do any type of music exceptionally well. But we have to pick a favourite here. We have to pick a favourite song, and I'm going to go with Something, which is from, I believe, Abbey Road. Yeah, it's from Abbey Road, and it's just an absolutely great song because the early work is good, with their sort of, innocent music. Then they sort of descended into this weird acidy world, which is also good. They're both great genres, but where they benefited was from that sort of simple love song, but with a bit of their love in it. And I think that's where they have their best music. It's just those sort of love songs, really, the real ballads, shall we say. And this one tops it for me. It's just a great one. So simple. Guitar is absolutely exceptional. I can listen to it in my head right now and just picture that little melody on the guitar, and it just it will never be topped. The Beatles. It was just the right place, the right time, the right people, and they helped to shape all the music that follows. Actually, there's no other person I could say that wouldn't cite the Beatles as a major influence on their work. So that was number 6, I believe. We had so far we've had Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Mac Miller, One Tricks Point Never, Radiohead. Did we mention someone else? I think we might have mentioned someone else. Hold on 1 sec. We said 5 or 6. Did I say Led Zeppelin? I did. So I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm going to name you 4 more because I think I've named 6. Maybe I've named 5. I'm coming with more than fucking 5 more because I've already hit you with the big ones. Here's another one: Arctic Monkeys. Really popular song, band, especially about 3 or 4 years ago, when they hit their peak, in my opinion. Oh my god, bangers after bangers, lads. They had a great success in the past, great success in England, a domestic success, which was a very sort of anglicised, fun music, but it was very honest and probably a bit too honest sometimes, talking about the culture in England. But of course they wanted to expand to America, so they released this album called AM in 2013, and oh my god, what an album it was. It put them on the map worldwide, and just boom, the booming guitars, the booming vocals, which are so in your face. It's an in your face band. So obviously they have so many songs to show for it because they've had those 2 major periods of success, in 2013 and then before that in 2005, 2008, etc. So great band, absolutely great band. But we do have to pick a favourite, and I will say Are You Mine, from their new American period, because it's so in your face, rock music down to the core. Great song. Just listen to it. I won't say anymore. Just listen to it. I'm telling you, whacking your head to that song. Right, that's number 6 now. So we gotta get 4 more songs. Oh god, 4 more artists. And yeah, I'm doing a lot of thinking, a lot of searching. Who's the best out there, whatever, I guess. But really hard to find more artists that I'm into. Who are you into, Tim? Who are you listening to? You've named the big guns. Now it's like hit them with the surprise choices or whatever. And yeah, it's a real hard one. Obviously. Sure, we're gonna hit you with another one here, and that is. Let's see what I'm trying to see what Spotify thinks are my favorite. It's kind of not really correct, to be honest. Sort of an interesting choices it's gone with. So yeah, I will hit you with. Do you know what? Spotify has this new feature where you can look back over all your history, which is quite handy. So I can just go back and check what I've been listening to recently, because surely that would tell me. But again, there's a lot of variety, shall we say, in my music. Okay, here's one that's 100% definite. Don't listen to them too much, but they have so many bangers, it's hard not to say. Fleetwood Mac, number 6 on this list. They are an American band, bit of folk in them, but a lot of love. And yeah, they can put on some absolute tunes. Their best song is The Chain, which is just amazing. Amazing song, amazing hook, amazing guitar. I think it was using F1 at one stage, but they can do it all. They have so many different ways they can do their music. But brilliant vocals, brilliant guitar. That's usually what makes a great song great. And it really has this sort of grand feel to it a lot of the times. but they can always touch on those singular moments and just amplify them out and make them absolutely exceptional and means so goddamn much. So anyways, we have 3 more artists that we have to get onto this list, and oh my god, what a tough one to choose, because let's be honest, there's loads of great artists out there, and if I want to talk about like all my favorite songs, I'd be just touching on a million, and I mean a million different artists throughout the days. I guess next up is going to be Kanye West. Kanye West appears on my list. He's such an... It annoys me because his overall personality is a bit grating, a bit annoying, quite hateable sometimes. But his overall music is just amazing. So it's interesting because sometimes you want to hate the guy, sometimes you gotta love him now, because he's just, you can't not enjoy his music. It's just, yes, all the way. And look, great songs all the way down the list. A lot of popular songs, a lot of songs that everyone listens to and goes, yeah. So my favourite song is All of the Lights, because it touches on, his struggles through the years. It also has a lot of meaning in the song, and it's just a great freaking banger. And he just doesn't stray away from saying what it is, being honest. That's usually a nice thing in music when people be honest, right? Yeah, even if it's for the wrong reasons. He says it as it is, and he comes at you, a lot of different orchestral sounds in the song, and there's just a lot of, his own personality embedded in there. So that's number 8 on my list. So another top musician out there. It's hard. It's once again hard thing to actually describe the music. Go out there, listen to it. You'll experience it much better than you will here. I'm not saying don't listen to this this podcast, but again, it wouldn't be something I'd be particularly good at explaining. So we have 2 more on the list. Where the hell do we go from here? Silence, absolute silence, people. Could just leave it with them 8. I guess we'll talk about the one that got me into music in the first place, and that is Coldplay. Coldplay, you hate them or love them, they have an absolutely exceptional body of music. Even to the present day, I will argue that some great songs recently. They're just so basic, so simple, but it worked for their benefit due to the fact that they didn't exclude anyone, because it was inclusive music. It reached everyone, every country in the world. You can see how popular they are. They go abroad, they go to Brazil, and they absolutely no barriers to their music. So I guess there's a lot of songs that get thrown around. This song is great. This song is great. This song's absolutely exceptional, or whatever. I'm going to take it back to the start, because I think Yellow, which is obviously such an obvious choice, is great. It's a great song. It's an absolutely exceptional song. Like, you can listen to it over and over again. It doesn't lose its shine, really. Pardon the pun. I guess yellow wouldn't be shiny technically, but a bright color. Doesn't lose its brightness. There you go. So it's exceptionally simple. It's what put them on the map. It's what keeps them on the map to this day. Guitar, great. Vocals, so honest and great. Exposed, really. And great rhythm to it. Doesn't stay around too long. Simple for days. You could just teach a little kid to play this song. But yeah, it's so basic but so beautiful. So that's how I describe Coldplay. Even when they go into their weird phases or whatever, they always sort of maintain a little charm to me. Anyways, so now we have one more lyricist, one more musician to include on our list. I'm having a trouble thinking of some band that has the amount of hits of the song of the bands I've just listened to, or an artist that I enjoy listening to often because, well, to be perfectly truthful, it's quite hard to find that many good artists, and for artists to be that good, to be at that level where they can produce that many hits and keep going and never stopping or whatever. It's a hard place to be. It really is. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to keep on the the stalling right now, because I'm trying to find an artist that gets to me like that. So yeah, let's keep looking. Right, I can't seem to find anyone. You know what? We'll choose Pink Floyd, because Pink Floyd are different than all my other choices. They're different because they are the most individualistic artists out there that has ever existed. They create their own feel. They create something that's completely different from the norm, and they're just they commit long songs, short songs, mainly long songs that drift into their own being, that are their own world of living. And I just really like them. They're so beautiful, but yeah, they hit hard. My favorite song is going to be, hold on one sec, by Pink Floyd. I will say, where is it? Breathe. Breathe is a great song. Just, it's brilliant. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a river of a song. They have an album called An Endless River. Their music is like endless rivers. It just flows and it goes into little turns, little twists and turns along the way. But it always keeps you going, you know what I mean? It always keeps you going. So, exceptional music, exceptional band. Right, that's our topic of music covered. I think I've blown out all the facets, yeah, of existence. I really do. Because it's exceptional. So now, finally, we can move on to another topic, because I don't want to cut this podcast too short. That would be a bit scabby, shall we say. So, I decided, you know what can I talk about? COVID still, it's doing its thing. It's not really going anywhere. And I was thinking, you know what? I could talk about an artist called OnlyFans. OnlyFans is different. OnlyFans, who does his own work online or whatever, and he does his own thing. So I was thinking, you know what? Talk about my favourite moments drinking, because that's what he does. So I was thinking, what can I do there? Could talk about favourite beers, could talk about, best moments. I was thinking, I could do best beers and then the best moments I found with them beers. Or worst, we don't know. So I guess I'll go through maybe 10 or whatever and say, oh, that was a great moment or whatever. And yeah, some crack with that. So another list, I suppose. And yeah, let's get into it. So, right. I'm just looking at my computer there, and it says you have 210 minutes remaining. Oh, that's grand. Sure. 2 hours even. So that's quite a while. Quite a ways into it. So, right. First off, let's go into our first beer, shall we say, on this list, and it's Dutch Gold. Dutch Gold is it's Dutch Gold. It's its own world of existence. It's a low-cost imported Pilsner lager sold only in Ireland. It was launched in 1995. It's basically this sort of lower-tier drink, I would say. It's cheap. It gets the job done. I used to drink this back in the day when, money wasn't aplenty. You weren't working. You were just getting by there with a 20 quid note, you know what I mean? So you just buy this, and you struggle to drink it. It's not the nicest drink in the world, to be honest. And yeah, I just remember, being in a field or whatever, drinking this and just being like, all right, this is bad. This is a bit grim, shall we say? So I had the 4, barely got through it, to be honest, and just struggled in general. All the sort of memories fade into one of drinking this, but always usually kind of ended up with me just feeling sick for the rest of the night. So I would recommend you getting this. Just wouldn't bother buying it, but it does look cool. It does an iconic look to this drink, with the blue at the top and the gold at the bottom. So it's actually a really nice looking beer, in my opinion. Iconic in so many ways in Ireland. And yeah, I just remember drinking a lot of this, and one specific time, St. Patrick's Day, remember going to the pub and just sneaking a few of these in, and maybe just drinking a few of these outside in the outside area. So that's my long existing memory of that. Next beer on the list is Karpaki, also a popular can in Ireland. What is our Karpaki? It's a premium beer, apparently. It's in Poland, and I usually thought, oh, this is going to be the worst thing ever. It was actually a really nice one. Over lockdown, I enjoyed this in a nice glass, like a pint glass, and I actually really enjoyed it. Real sugary drink, actually. My long-lasting memory of this is probably, during lockdown, a lockdown beer, lockdown drink. I get the four-pack drink, I don't know, 4 of them. So handy as well. They're only 5%, which is quite high, but somehow I'd get through 4 of these. I don't know how, but I always ended up doing it. I was like, this is actually easy enough to drink. It's funny enough, I just looked through one here, I thought it said piss, it actually said pills. So there's a green version of this, there's a black version, which is 9%. I've never tried that sounds heavy as hell. I don't know how you'd manage to drink that, to be honest. I think you'd die. So, and I also see some guy doing a review of it here with a fucking ski mask on, so that's dodgy out. So that's my overriding memories of it. Lockdown, didn't really drink it outside of that. Just with friends as well, I suppose, during this recent period. And, right, next one on the list is Orchard Thieves. Orchard Thieves is a cider produced, I believe, just in Ireland. It was a benefactor of the sort of success that we saw with Bulmers. Bulmers was another beer that I believe, it had its own success. It was interesting because I always found not that nice, but again, once you drink one, you're like, yeah, I'm probably done with this. Orchard Thieves, on the other hand, more of an appeal to me anyways. A bit sweeter, a bit less bitter of an apple cider, and you could get a few cans of it, and you probably get through about 3 or 4 before you give up on it. So I would recommend it. And yeah, the overriding memory of basically a few years ago, I couldn't buy a drink because I was too young. The 18 is the legal age here to buy. So what I do is my mate would go get his mum to buy him, and then he'd charge us for the drink. So this was a choice of the weapon of choice, shall we say. And yeah, it's a nice drink. It really is. If you're starting off drinking, this isn't the worst choice in the world. Bit expensive. Maybe it was like €2 a can paying this lad, even though he's only getting it for fucking free. But in reality, it is quite expensive beer, quite a premium one. So it's kind of special in that regards. It's not something you delve with all the time, but yeah, I would do it. I just picture a cold beer with the sun out. We started drinking this in the summer, like we're talking about May, the end of April, May, coming into June. Do you know what I mean? So it's the absolute exceptional beer. One of the summer drinks of choice, to be honest. So that's number 3. Speaking of summer drinks, Corona. Corona number 4 on this list. The overriding memory I have this is on my 6-year holiday, drinking, I'd say, too many of these. Too many to think of. Put a bit of lime in there, you're off. I was actually nearly sick of the drink by the end of the holiday. I was like, I'm not drinking this, and I don't think I drank it for a fucking year and a half after that. I was like, here lads, I've had way too much of this. What it is it's a very simple drink. I don't know what they put in it. It's such a simple beer. Like, I don't know how people start getting into this, but I guess it's just so easy to drink. But the thing is, I've actually found easier beers to drink, but I guess this is a pretty easy one. 4.6%, and it's commonly served with a wedge of lime in it, because it's basically quite tart, quite a boring, sort of a slightly bitter taste to it, so it's kind of not great on its own, but mixed with things, it's a perfect mixer of a drink. So yeah, I remember on the holiday just having like bottles and bottles, and it's not the cheapest beer in the world, it's quite expensive, so I guess we sort of pushed the boat out in this one. I remember just going to the off license every day, getting like 4 or 6 at a time, bring them home, drinking, I don't know, the whole of them in a few hours, coming back, get more. Absolutely, you're sort of actually coming up afterwards, you're like a bit hungover when you go and buying more, so it's kind of mad. Like, you get drunk, then you would get sober again, get drunk again. Like, it wouldn't fuck you up, but it would just, you know what I mean, it was party drink really. It was like, lads are around, drink a few of these, you can knock into the person's beer, fizz it up or whatever. Just like some of those drinks you just drink with other people. It's a social drink really. And also you can mix it. There's a certain mix you can do with grenadine and orange and tequila, which I did try. Freaking nice. I will do that again during the summer as well. Love it. Right, number 4 on the list. We are halfway there, nearly. And I was thinking, what's like my sort of go-to easy drink to drink? And that would be Coors Light. Coors Light is such a light drink, such an easy to drink because it comes from America, where I guess that's a popular thing, is just to dumb down the drink, just make it simple. None of this Heineken or Carlsberg sort of complications with the flavors, putting these weird like hops and stuff in it. No, it's just simple, down to earth Coors Light. It's a very clear looking beer. It's a very simple beer, and whenever I see it, I think, you know what, this is going to be an easy drink. This is going to be an easy session. In recent times, I find that kind of not true, but certainly the pints are just, they go down handy, because pints are usually quite difficult to drink. But Coors, for some reason, it was just like a plain, easy drink. Nothing exciting, nothing special, but Coors does the job. It does the job, and it's not any struggle whatsoever. So that's why I like it in general. And you can easily be drinking it like water after a while. So maybe it's a bit dangerous, maybe it's not. But I don't know. I always think of America as well for some reason. So I don't know. It's weird. It's sort of like weird one to drink in Ireland. But hey, do you know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. It's definitely not the most popular one. A lot of people say, why? But I don't know. I kind of find it an interesting drink at the odd time. That's number 5. Number 6 is Rockshore. Another one where I drank a lot of during lockdown. And the reason I drank this was because it's an easy drink. It's also got a nicer taste, a more interesting taste than a Coors. So it's sort of like a little step up to Coors, I would say. It's advertised as like, oh, it's by the sea or whatever. It does have a sort of a weird sea taste to it. And I don't know why that is. Is it because of the advertisements made me think of that? But it's got this sort of weird, slightly hoppy taste to it. Like a little bit of a craft beer, but like only the tiniest of sense of craft beer. You drink a few cans of this, you get the 8-pack or whatever. It's only about 4%, so you're barely even getting a hangover after this. So I guess that would be a benefit. It's so low. Do you know what I mean? It's so low, it's actually quite difficult to get drunk off this one. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So the one thing is, you probably might feel a bit stomach dodgy, maybe, but you won't feel the head too bad. So I would say, yeah, I'd say go for it. And it's also made by Diageo, I believe, own Guinness, I want to say. Inspired by the rugged, refreshing experience of the West Coast. So it's I believe the idea is it's light and refreshing, like the sea. But I was just interested to see how they made it. Like, how does it get the taste? Yeah, it does have a hops in it, so that's sort of the hoppy taste to it. Right, that's number 6. Number 7 on this list is one. It's a classic. It's a real classic staple if you're from Ireland, and Linden Village cider. You heard me talk about Usher Thieves earlier. This is a bit of a step down from that. This is a 6% beer, by the way, so it's quite a heavy one compared to the other ciders. And it's a rotten taste off. It's like rotten apples is what it reminds me of. There is a place in Buckingham called Linden Village, so I don't know if that's what it's got its name for. And is it a British beer then, for that respect? Don't know. All I know is it's really heavy. It's really associated with like lads drinking this in the park. And that's basically what I did. Drink this in the feckin' out in the field or whatever. And I just remember one time, I think I probably had about 4 cans of this, and it was just gone. I was gone in the head, and I was making a mess of myself. I think it was in a gaff or whatever, and I just absolutely gone. I don't know what I was doing. And yeah, it's one of those that you can go two drinks in or whatever, you're fine. 3 or 4 and you're gone. You get that stage where you can barely fucking walk at that stage. So, respect it in its way, but that was my first probably real experience of like, oh, Jesus, this is getting fucked up, isn't it? This is what it really feels like to get fucked. Not like to get drunk, but to feel fucked. So, you get there with this. Number 8 on this list. I've been through sort of the basics. I wanted to get into another one that's interesting because you probably haven't heard of it so much, and it's Druid cider. Another cider, a cider that's very popular, especially the cans amongst young lads. I feel like when you get a certain age, it's like you graduate away from these drinks. That's what happens with these lads. The Druid cider. Another one, it's like the nicer the cans you drink, it's less of a crack, I think. And this is why this shitty can reminds me of so much crack, because it's also 6%. I remember going to like a school, like disco or whatever, or not disco, like a night out sort of job. Yeah, it would have been a sort of school event, and this was basically the weapon of choice before getting on the bus one time. And I remember my mate I still couldn't buy a drink at this point, I don't think, or else I got my ID, and he bought me this, and I was like, oh my god, this is mental. Actually, I think I was just like 17 at the time. I was going, oh no, when he pulled up with this. And I tried down in one, and I was like, this is impossible to drink fast, isn't it? And I was basically trying to get these on before we got on the bus, and I tell you what, fuck. But actually the relief came because I got on the bus and your man was like, yeah, you can bring on drink. I was like, okay, sound. I can just drink this on the bus, because I was trying to get them on before we got on the bus. So that's actually a real perk there. I think this lad knew everyone was getting fucked up anyways. He was just like, as long as it didn't get too messy, I don't think this lad was complaining too hard. So yeah, Druid cider, probably the worst beer I've ever had. Or cider anyways. It is an awful taste off it. I don't know how it even exists. It doesn't even taste remotely like anything real. Remember I talked about Linden Village? It's like worse than Linden Village. It's more rotten than Linden Village. It's the most awful godforsaken taste. It's like the apples were rotten already and they just sort of pissed on them or something. But it's awful taste. That's number 8 anyways. 2 more on the list. Number 9, number 10. I want to come up with an interesting one that maybe you haven't heard of. And yeah, I guess there was another one which I don't know if I had too much of, but I remember its existence. And it's called Stonehouse, Inch's Stonehouse. Another cider, because every time you're out in the field, it's what you're drinking. It's a 6% as well. This is probably a slightly better than the Druids, but still very bad. Still very similar taste. I have a nice rotten apple or whatever. I guess that's actually all ciders are usually rotten apples, aren't they? Or they're old apples or whatever that this mixed in or whatever. Whatever way, it's fermented to shit. Yeah, maybe it's just because we got the cans all warm, but there's another one where it was like, yeah, guys, what are we doing? There's a reason you don't see this in the old pubs, and it's actually advertised here at $164, which is quite expensive. So I don't know what happened there. How did it get so expensive? Maybe because only one lad sells it and he's like, you know what, fucking, I'll drive up these prices. But yeah, really expensive one. Yeah, not one I'm too enthused about, but it exists nonetheless. Right, number 10. Is this the one you've all been waiting for? No, it certainly isn't. And you know what? As a little special, I will not include a beer I've drunk in a field in a can. For this one, I'm going to go straight to a place called Spoons, which is I believe a restaurant / pub where they serve drink. And I was thinking, there's a beer called the Beast there. Now, I'm serious when I say this thing was only about £2. Literally, probably even less. They had these like cheap craft beers and Spoons. So basically what they do is they have lots of stuff that's way cheaper in the hope that you drink loads of it and make a profit near themselves, you know what I mean? So it's basically what they're selling as cans, but in a fucking pub, in a restaurant. And that's what it is. Anyways, I got a fucking full pint of this thing for €2. And it looked like Guinness. Looked exactly like Guinness, black head or whatever. But black colour. But it was completely black at the top. So there was no white head, I don't think. And this thing was called the Beast. And it was absolutely rotten looking. Like, it was like Guinness, but just done very badly. I drank it. It was absolutely awful. I remember seeing someone in Spoons doing it down in this, and I guess it was the worst experience of his life. Also mine. Really horrible one. Real burnt taste of it. Just not worth it. Don't do it, lads. Anyways, that's my list. Like top 10 beers, top 10 artists. You can enjoy them while drinking a good beer. But yeah, that's my list. That's my thinking. Anyways, that's been fun to talk to you guys. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up. Wrap it up on a bit of a fun ending, I guess. Anyways, if you have any ideas for any future videos, make sure to leave them in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, don't think they have that feature yet. Hopefully they'll get that feature. But yeah, that's been an interesting listen. So yeah, I'm excited to do more of these in the future. Obviously every week on the Friday. Don't worry about it. And yeah, sure, I'll talk to you anyways later, guys. Good luck.